All right, this is going to be another video for May 23rd. It's going to be a short video. I want to get right into it. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And just go over and visit me at my prophecy site that you see right here at the top. And I'm pretty sure that you'll find some really interesting news. Now, I put up a March 13th of 2012 post. One of the reasons why I did this is because I've been sharing with you some of the warnings about what to look for in the future based on the word of the Lord. And so I'm going to again now direct my attention to what's going on in Israel based again on what we see from the scriptures. Now the prophecy, excuse me while I scroll down here, I'm going to get to the prophecy and you'll see there's Israel, the state of Israel right there. And of course in my post of May of 2012 I give you some insights of what I showed you from 2010 concerning this prophecy. Now the prophecy that I'm talking about is a prophecy found in Deuteronomy 33 verses 19 through 24 that deals with Israel finding these treasures. And of course I'm going to bring you up to date, fill you in, connecting the dots to what's happening. Now what I said back then is, did you know that God warned us that Israel will be blessed in the last days? Guess where these blessings would come from? Can't get it? Well, let me show you what the Lord said in Deuteronomy chapter 33 verse 19. They will summon peoples to the mountains and there offer sacrifices of righteousness. They will feast on the abundance of the seas. That's number one. And this is, I'm hoping that this will be really exciting for you who may not know too much about Bible prophecy and you were wondering whether the Bible was true and God was true and can His Word be trusted about these things of the future. Then it goes on to say, on the treasures hidden in the sand. So there's going to be an abundance of in the seas and in the treasures hidden in the sand. And let me ask you one question. Same thing as I asked back then. What is usually found in the seas and in the deserts in the Middle East? Well, of course, it would be gas and oil. These are hidden treasures, and Israel is beginning to find these treasures. And this is what I wrote to you back in 2010. And what I'm going to do now is bring you, let me see here, I'm going to bring you to a new article. This is, as you can see, May 21st of 2012. And it's a very interesting article because once again they're talking about these treasures, the oil and the gas that Israel was supposed to be finding at the time of the end, and they are definitely doing it. Now, the Bloomberg had an article a couple days ago, Israel's undersea gas bonanza may spur Mideast strife. Now, I've been telling you about the Psalm 83 war. There's a lot of different things that are happening that are going to bring about that war and also bring about the Ezekiel chapter 38 war, which there's a good possibility that that war will also be centered on some of the spoils that we see in that war, as Russia and Iran and Turkey and Ethiopia and Libya and the rest of these nations who are listed there are going to be coming down for spoils. And I believe that part of the spoils will be thinking by the Russians that they're going to go in and take their oil and some of the other blessings that Israel has. So look at this article. It says, Egypt's decision last month to stop selling the natural gas to Israel could be the harbinger of the increasingly confrontational Egyptian-Israeli relations, an indication of a worsening Egyptian economy or both. Now, how many times in the past month have I told you that the relationship between Israel and Egypt are going to break off? And we're seeing that in the process right now, especially with the new government and the new elections, and they're swinging toward the Muslim Brotherhood who hates Israel. So, in any case, the end of the agreement, which provided 40% of Israel's supply, suggests the need of more Israeli creative thinking and ascertained diplomacy. Not with Egypt, but counterintuitively with Turkey and Lebanon. Now, of course, Lebanon is mentioned in the attack of Psalm 83. Turkey is mentioned in the attack in Ezekiel 38. And Egypt is mentioned in the Psalm war as well. So the Egyptian move would have raised greater concerns just a few years ago than it did today among Israel, the Israelis, who import 70% of the natural gas and all of their oil. Major point. And then Israel saw no alternative to a near completion independence on other countries to meet its energy needs. Now discoveries, this is where it starts to get good. Discoveries of large underwater gas fields in the eastern Mediterranean, however, have changed Israel's energy prospects almost overnight. Remember what Paul told us about the birth pangs in the last days, how things were going to speed up? Well, this is part and parcel for what we're seeing in this prophecy. Now, in 2009, a consortium of U.S. and Israeli companies discovered the Tamar field about 50 miles off the Israeli coast with an estimated, get this, 8.3 trillion cubic feet of gas. A year later, a similar consortium discovered the Leviathan, a huge field nearly estimated to hold 16 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. And ask any oil engineer, where you find natural gas, you find oil. Now these fields and the prospect of more in adjacent waters, remember the scriptures about you're going to find treasures in where? In the seas and in the sand. Well, look at the news. You're seeing God's word come to pass. Now in 2010, the U.S. Geological Survey study estimated that the Levant Basin off the coast of Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and the Gaza Strip could hold about 1.7 billion barrels of recoverable oil, 122 trillion cubic feet of the recoverable gas, and 5 billion barrels of natural gas liquids. And so when we go to Ezekiel chapter 38, and it says that they come down to take a spoil and take a prey, now you have a really good idea of why they're going in there. And Israel may not know this, but the discovery to them will be a blessing because they don't have to depend on any, but it's also going to be wreak havoc for it, because somebody's going to try to take it away, and we know what God told us, who's going to make an attempt to do that. And obviously, if you read Ezekiel 38, you'll know that that's not going to happen. God will protect them. If true, Israel could meet its own electricity needs in the future and possibly become a net exporter to a gas-thirsty region. Now, this right there tells me not only is the Psalm 83 war being set up, but also the Ezekiel war. Now, this would bring economic and political benefits as well as a regional clout at a time when Israel's regional standing is more uncertain than it has been for decades. And of course, this would be in a fulfillment of Zechariah 12:3, where the Lord told us in the last days Israel essentially was going to be alone. Israel would be Jerusalem would be a burdensome stone, and everybody would come against Israel in the last days. And we've been seeing a lot of that lately, where nations bowing out as friends like Egypt and Turkey have in the past year and a half. Then it goes on to say, but because nothing is simple in the Middle East, there is also a real threat that these gas discoveries could serve as a spur for conflict rather than economic growth. And that's essentially what I've been telling you about the coming two wars. And they just make my case for me. Now, the Tamar and the Leviathan discoveries are generally accepted to fall within Israel's exclusive economic zone in the Mediterranean, although Lebanon originally insisted that the Leviathan crosses into its waters. So you have the basis of conflict, the basis of a war taking place. Exploration continues, and it could be only a matter of time before the field is discovered, straddling contested boundaries. And so I believe that you're going to hear more news about the oil discovery, because the Lord said that they were going to be blessed, and we see that taking place. So imagine a scenario in which a new field is found in Israeli waters but bleeds into 330 square mile disputed area where Israel and Lebanon's claimed economic zones overlap. It could also run into the Cypriot territory waters, which would be, now you're getting towards Turkey here, and suddenly the world, could face a situation in which Turkey insists that the field not be developed until the problem of the divided Cyprus is resolved, while Hezbollah threatens to take military action against what it sees as Israeli effort to commandeer the Lebanese natural resources. Now, in December of 2010, Hezbollah stated that it wouldn't allow Israel to plunder Lebanon's maritime assets. The U.S. would be pulled in two different directions, obviously, and I even stated here, one by its NATO ally Turkey and the other by Israel. Now, let me say this. Knowing what Zechariah 12:3 said, that Israel is going to be left alone last days, who do you think the United States is going to go with? Well, for now, they're still with Israel, but they're dumping her in the bus. We've seen that in the last year. Obama is actually throwing Israel under the bus, and eventually, as the scriptures will be fulfilled, everybody will turn against Israel in the latter days, because it says all the nations will. So it is just this scenario that dozens of students considered in a recent competition that I supervised for the Harvard University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The students looking for ways to resolve this problem came up with two broadly different approaches. And so I'm going to leave you to read what those approaches are, because I gave you the bottom line. I'm concerned about Bible prophecy, concerned about the word of the Lord coming to pass, to show you that it is already here, it's happening now, and for Christians you should be excited, and for those Christians who call them Christians and they're not very excited, you may just find yourself lukewarm. And Jesus made comments about lukewarm Christians, and I want to reference to that now, where he said, you may remember this, he'll spit you out of his mouth. This is coming from our Lord Jesus Christ. So it's not some place that you would want to be. You want to be on fire for the Lord. You want to be excited, because these events are showing us that he's coming back soon. Just like my other video today about the sacrifices of the land that they did, to practice sacrifice, getting ready for the sacrifices in the third temple, which is going to be built soon. We can see that coming as well. So take all these things into account. And one last thing, ask the Lord to forgive you today. If you do that, he's going to remove those sins. He's going to remove the death sentence that you have. If you're not knowing Jesus now, if you're not born again, you're dead to him. And you need to get this new life. And the only way that you could do that is to ask Jesus Christ into your heart. He doesn't care who you are, what you did, and he's forgiven us. He's done everything for us on the cross. And he just is asking you to believe him, trust him, and he will show you that he is the way to the Father. And as Jesus said, there's no other way. He is the truth, the life. There's no other way. Nobody goes to the Father except through the Son. We see that in John 14:6. So please consider the salvation message, the good news of the blessed hope that Christ will be coming for us soon.